Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking through the NBA slate on DraftKings for Wednesday, March the 29th. We do have a big Wednesday slate tonight, 10 games guys, so I'm going to try not to waste too much time, just going to go quickly through these 10 games, give you guys kind of a brief breakdown of the slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Tuesday night when I'm recording this video. But as always, before we do get started with the breakdown, if you guys do enjoy these DFS videos, if they do help you out, make sure you hit that like button down below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And if you guys are new to the channel, if you've never checked out PrizePicks before, PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can actually sign up for PrizePicks. You can use my promo code Noah. When you sign up, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up with my promo code. And for those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, they are a player prop site. Very simple, very easy to use. You're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. You can see already some of the props they have posted for Wednesday's games. If there's anything that stands out to you, again, you're just taking more or less. Again, you can make 2 picks, or you can make up to 6 picks, win up to 25x your money. Make sure, though, that when you sign up for PrizePicks, use that promo code Noah, so that way you do get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through this big 10-game Wednesday slate, guys. Going to try and go through this one somewhat quickly. So we'll start off with the first game of the night, Milwaukee and Indiana. We'll start off on the Indiana side. So Indiana right now has kind of just, they've entered tank mode. They've pretty much shut it down for the season. Tyrese Halliburton is out once again today. Miles Turner's been out, I believe, the last 2 games. He's questionable for today. Nobody else, though, no, Chris Duarte, but no any other, super major injuries here. So, I mean, without Tyrese Halliburton, we know there's going to be a pretty big role for both TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard. These guys did get priced up a little bit. McConnell's up to $6K now, which I think is about right. I think that's an appropriate price tag for him. Nembhard is up to $5,900. Both these guys, though, should get pretty good minutes here. I think Nembhard definitely the guy that has the bigger minute ceiling. McConnell's been the better permanent producer, but I think with Nembhard playing more minutes, 35, 36 minutes, that's definitely in his range of outcomes. He's the guy that I think I would prefer here, and we've seen Nembhard, play even like in blowouts lately. He's been getting, pretty good run. I don't love the matchup against Milwaukee, but I think Nembhard's fine. I think he's a playable option, but really nothing else on Indiana looks that great. Miles Turner, if he plays, how many minutes is he going to get? Like they've been capping him around like 30 minutes, so I think his ceiling is kind of limited, just because he's not really going to play a ton of minutes, even if it's a competitive game. If Miles Turner is out again, we could maybe look to a guy like Jalen Smith or Isaiah Jackson. Last game, it was Jalen Smith that started center. Smith played 24 minutes. They basically split the center minutes pretty evenly between Smith and Jackson. Whoever starts between the two, I think would be an okay value, but neither guy is like, a must play in my opinion. And then Jordan Nwora has been starting lately, been playing pretty good minutes. I still think he's in play at 5,200. It is a revenge game for him against Milwaukee. Especially without Halliburton right now, they kind of need some offense, and Nwora can provide that. So, again, these are guys you can definitely mix into some GPP lineups, but I don't think there's going to be like any core plays for me coming from this Indiana team. Now, on the other side with Milwaukee, great matchup here for the Bucks going up against the Pacers, who have been pretty horrible defensively, play at a fast pace. It's a great spot for Giannis. Giannis is probable for today, so he's expected back. But, worth mentioning, he was probable last game and did not play, so keep an eye on this. It's not a guarantee that Giannis plays today, but given that he's probable, I think we kind of have to assume he's going to play. And it's a great matchup. Indiana's, not a good defensive team. This is a spot where Giannis should have plenty of success. I think the only concern is, can Indiana keep this game close? But if they can, I think Giannis offers a ton of upside here. He is firmly in play at 11,600. But Middleton and Drew, I'm not interested in. Middleton got priced up a lot for when Giannis and Drew were out last game, so he's overpriced. Drew at 7,300 is fine, but not a guy that I'm super in love with. The rest of the Bucks are definitely all overpriced now, assuming we have Giannis and Middleton both playing today. Middleton, questionable, so we'll have to keep an eye on his status. Maybe he sits here. If Middleton does sit, I think that does make Drew look a little bit more appealing. I think 7,300 for Drew, I could definitely get behind that. But I'm really not looking to any other Bucks, I don't think. Really, nothing else stands out here. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, Miami and New York. So for the Knicks today, only injury news to keep an eye on here is the status of Jalen Brunson. So Jalen Brunson, once again, questionable for this game. Brunson did not play in their last game. We've kind of seen this scenario before. Without Brunson, the guys that really benefit are Julius Randle, Emmanuel Quickley, and RJ Barrett. Randle's up to 9,800. Quickley is 7,800. At those price tags, I don't think either one of those guys would be like priorities for me today, even if Brunson's out. I think RJ Barrett would be my favorite play just because he's only 6,200. He's kind of been, up and down even in the games without Brunson, but we have seen him have some big ceiling games when Brunson's been out. He had a pretty good game last game in fairly limited minutes. Did not get a ton of run last game because of the blowout. I think at 6,200, I'd be fine going to RJ Barrett here if Brunson remains out. But if Brunson plays, I think I'm pretty much off the Knicks here. It's not a great matchup. This is going to be a slow-paced game. Nothing really looks that great on the Knicks, assuming they're fully healthy. Now, on the other side with Miami, so Jimmy Butler did not play on Tuesday night. It's the second night of a back-to-back for Miami. I'm guessing Butler sat out Tuesday so that he could play today. So I'm assuming Butler will play here. So I'm expecting Miami to pretty much be fully healthy. And if Miami's fully healthy, it's hard to really get excited about many guys here. I mean, this matchup against the Knicks, I don't love. Again, I think it's going to be like a really slow-paced, lower-scoring game. Butler, Bam, Hero, they all have upside. They're guys that can put up 40, 45 DraftKings points any night, but where they're priced at, none of them look like priority options here. The rest of the Heat, I'm not super interested in. This is not that appealing of a game, to be honest with you. There's 10 games on the slate. This is one that I'm definitely not that interested in. So I think we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Houston and Brooklyn. So for Brooklyn today, really good spot here going up against the Rockets. I mean, guys like Mikal Bridges, Spencer Dinwiddie, I think look like great options. Brooklyn, they've been kind of, spotty lately. They've been involved in a lot of blowouts. We've seen, Bridges and Dinwiddie kind of be up and down lately, but this feels like a really good spot for them going up against a Rockets team that doesn't play much defense, that hasn't been playing as fast this season, but I still think it's a great matchup for Mikal Bridges. Obviously, his role has been great since he's been with Brooklyn. Brooklyn, they need to win games right now to lock up that 6th seed. I think they're currently the 6th seed in the East, so if they want to lock their spot into the playoffs, they got to keep winning games. So we can expect them to, pretty much go all out to try and win these games right now. Should have, or we should expect big minutes for Mikal Bridges here. Great matchup. I think he looks great at 7,600. I think Spencer Dinwiddie looks great at 7,600. Dinwiddie, kind of has some disappointing games lately, but this is a big time, bounce back spot for him. One of the best possible matchups facing Houston, who's been getting killed by point guards this season. So really like Dinwiddie here as well. And then the rest of Brooklyn, Nick Claxton at 7K, I don't mind. We've seen Claxton's minutes be much more secured lately. He's been playing about 33, 34 minutes a night as long as games are competitive. I think at 7K, he feels priced about right, but he put up a huge game against Houston earlier this season. Would not be surprised to see another big game from Claxton here. The minutes have been much more secure, like I said. I think he's okay at 7K. And then Cam Johnson, his production's kind of diminished lately. We haven't seen him have as good of games as of late, but this is a really good matchup for him as well. Facing a Rockets team that's given up a lot of three-pointers this year. This Rockets team plays fast, so I think this is a really good spot for Cam Johnson. Don't mind him at 5,900. Nothing else on Brooklyn, though, I'm really looking to target. Definitely, two favorite plays here for sure are Bridges and Dinwiddie. Now, on the other side with Houston, there's some guys I think that are kind of appealing on Houston. We've seen Houston, even though they have nothing to play for, they're pretty much treating all their games like normal games. They're playing Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Şengün. They're playing these guys like 35, 36 minutes, especially the guards, KPJ and Green. They're playing them mid-30s minutes in competitive games. So as long as Houston keeps this game close, I think we can expect big minutes for KPJ and Jalen Green. Where they're priced at, I wouldn't consider either one of them priority plays. I think I would prefer Kevin Porter Jr. over Jalen Green if I had to choose one of the two. But they're definitely viable GPP options. I think Şengün at 6,700 looks pretty solid here. We've seen Brooklyn really struggle defensively against centers lately. They've been really bad on the glass. So I think this is a spot where Şengün can have plenty of success. The price tag at 6,700 is a little bit down. So I definitely like Şengün in GPPs. Not super interested in really anyone else on Houston, though. I know KJ Martin had a really big game recently. At 5,600, he feels priced about right. I would say my favorite play on the Rockets is probably Şengün, then Kevin Porter Jr. The rest of these guys I'm not super interested in. But definitely, Bridges and Dinwiddie both look great here in a really, really good matchup. But let's move on to the next game, Dallas and Philadelphia. So we're Philadelphia today. Going to have to keep an eye on the status of James Harden and Joel Embiid. Both these guys are listed as questionable for today. They both sat out last game. I'm expecting them both to be back here. Harden did not play last game, but it was reported that he was going to play, and then they ruled him out like 30 minutes before tip-off. So I'm guessing Harden's probably back for this one. Embiid, on the other hand, don't know about his status, but I'd assume he probably comes back for this game as well. I think this is a national TV game against the Mavericks. So if Embiid and Harden are both playing, there's nothing that looks that great on Philadelphia. Tyrese Maxey is super expensive, so you're not going to play him. Tobias Harris is pretty expensive. You're not playing him. You're not playing DeAnthony Melton. Really, the only guys you're going to consider on Philadelphia if everyone's healthy, is going to be Embiid and or Harden. I think in this spot, I would rather go to Embiid. I think this matchup against Dallas is one that Embiid can definitely have success in. I don't think Dallas really has any good defensive bigs that can slow down Embiid here, and we're seeing Embiid right now just playing at an elite level. You clearly can tell that he wants to win MVP. Every night he's going out there and just dropping 35, 40 points, it seems like. So I think Embiid at 11K is a fine pay-up option. Harden at 9,600, I'm not as excited about, but he's still playable. The rest of the Sixers, I'm not really interested in. I'm only considering these guys, Maxey, Harris, Melton. I'm only considering these guys if Embiid and Harden are both out. If they play, no interest in really any other Sixers. And then on the other side with Dallas, so for Dallas here, it's not the greatest matchup against Philadelphia, a good defensive team, a team that plays at a slow pace. Luka at 12K feels priced about right here. I wouldn't consider Luka a priority on this slate. I think there's other guys I probably would rather pay up for. Even though there's some blowout risk for Giannis going up against the Pacers, I think I'd rather have Giannis against the Pacers than Luka here. So not super interested in Luka. He's always in play, but not a priority for me. Kyrie Irving at 9,500 feels priced where he should be. Nothing else on Dallas I'm really looking to. I mean, if I was going to play anyone, it would be one of the two stars here, and neither one of Kyrie or Luka I'm prioritizing on this slate. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, the Lakers and the Bulls. So we just saw these teams play. I think it was on Sunday. They're playing again today. We'll start off on the Chicago side. So the Chicago guys, the main three, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, I think they're all viable options here. The Lakers, their defense has been pretty good lately, but they've still been playing at a really fast pace. So I think this game does have some potential to be somewhat high scoring. And we know this, Bulls offense is going to run through these three guys, DeRozan, LaVine, Vooch. If I had to prioritize them, I think LaVine would be my favorite, then DeRozan, then Vooch. LaVine's just been playing massive minutes lately. If this game's competitive, he's going to play close to 40 minutes. He put up 40 DK points in 37 minutes against the Lakers on Sunday. Usage has been really good. He's been taking a lot of shots. He's been super aggressive offensively. I think LaVine's a solid option. I think DeRozan's fine as well. DeRozan's been a lot better lately. He had that stretch earlier this season where he just was playing terribly. His usage was way down. It's been back to normal. He's been playing bigger minutes as well. DeRozan, fine to go to. These two teams, when they played Sunday, Vooch got ejected. He wasn't having the greatest first half, but I think this matchup for him is okay against Anthony Davis. I know he's had some decent games in the past against Anthony Davis, so I don't mind Vooch either. But again, I think LaVine's my favorite of the three main Bulls. No other Bulls, though, I'm considering. And then on the other side with the Lakers, so Anthony Davis is probable. He's expected to play. LeBron is questionable. I'm guessing LeBron plays here. LeBron played last game. They're probably going to go back to what they were doing before where they list LeBron questionable every game. So if LeBron's in, if Anthony Davis is in, there's nothing that looks that great on the Lakers because all these other guys feel overpriced now that LeBron and AD are both healthy. Guys like Russell, Reeves, Schroeder. And then LeBron and AD, they both have plenty of upside, but when they're playing together, plus when they're playing with Russell and Reeves and Schroeder, it's just hard to really tell who's going to be the guy that has the big game, if any of them do. So I'm not that interested in the Lakers here, assuming everyone's in. Now, by some chance if LeBron sits, then I think Anthony Davis is a fine pay-up option. Reeves and Schroeder and Russell, where they're priced at, none of them look that great. Russell's expected to be back for this game, so I think that pretty much takes Schroeder out of play. Reeves has been great, but at 7,100, I just can't pay that price tag for Reeves, especially with LeBron and AD healthy, and with Russell back too. So not that much that looks that appealing on the Lakers here. Most of my interest in this game is coming on the Chicago side, I think. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, Detroit and OKC. So for OKC today, they're another team on a back-to-back. We saw SGA sit out on Tuesday night. Don't really have any word yet on SGA's status. I'm guessing he'll play here, given it's a back-to-back. I'm assuming he sat out Tuesday so that he could play this game. But who knows? It's a game against Detroit. They should easily be able to win. But they did lose Tuesday night against the Hornets in a game they probably should have won. So, I'm guessing SGA will be back. If he is, really good matchup for him. Detroit's been horrible defensively this season against guards. Specifically, they've been a horrible defensive team in general. Great matchup here for SGA. If he plays, I think he's a really strong pay-up option. If SGA is out, then I think we can start to look to Giddey, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, because those are going to be the guys that really benefit without SGA. Giddey had a really big game against the Hornets Tuesday night, nearly had a triple-double, 58 DraftKings points. He's been really good without SGA this season. I think he would stand out as a solid play. Jalen Williams was great, and I think he would be a really good option once again if SGA is out again. And then Lou Dort at 6K. He got priced up a little bit, but I still think he'd be a viable play at this price tag, assuming there's no SGA. And then for value, we could definitely consider Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe played pretty big minutes, 32 minutes, was really good, had 39 DraftKings points. Obviously, Detroit matchup is really good, so at 4,800, Isaiah Joe would be another guy we could look to for value here if SGA remains out. So those are kind of the 4 guys I'm looking to if SGA doesn't play. If he does play, I think he's a very strong play and a obviously really good matchup for him. Now on the Detroit side, looking at the Pistons here, the Pistons, they're a team that, God, I just really don't want to be targeting that much. I mean, they're in tank mode. They really don't care to win games right now. They're going to play, probably 9-10 guys a night. The matchup against OKC is not the greatest. OKC's defense has actually been pretty good this season, but I think the one spot we could look to target here is with the bigs, Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman, because this OKC team has been getting killed on the glass this season. They're a bad rebounding team. They've been bad defensively against centers, so I think it's a pretty good spot for the bigs, but when they're all healthy, Bagley, Wiseman, Duren, it's hard to tell which guy's going to be the one that pops off, if any of them do. Bagley's minutes have been pretty consistent lately as a starter. He's been playing mid-30s minutes, so maybe we could go to Bagley at 6,800. I know James Wiseman, his minutes have kind of got cut down lately, 19, 23, 20 minutes over their last 3 games, and that's not even been with foul trouble or anything. They just haven't been playing Wiseman, so Wiseman's a little bit risky to go to, even though it is a really good matchup. And then Jalen Duren, obviously, has been a great permanent producer this season. His minutes have kind of been trending up, whereas Wiseman's have been trending down. If you want to ride the trend, I think Duren at 5,100, if he continues to play 25, 28 minutes off the bench, he's got a lot of upside here and a really good matchup, one that he should be able to have a lot of success in. So if I'm going to target anyone on Detroit today, I think I'm going to look to the bigs first. Nothing else on the Pistons, though, looks that appealing. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Still 4 more games to go over, guys. So the Clippers and the Grizzlies. We'll start off on the Grizzlies side. Ja Morant was out on Tuesday night, but it was reported that he's already expected to be back for this game. So with Ja Morant expected back, I think Ja kind of looks appealing here at 9K. So the last game we saw Ja play in, he played 29 minutes and he was in the starting lineup in that game. So I'm guessing Ja will be back in the starting lineup tonight. I think he'll play over 30 minutes here, if not pretty much full minutes. And if we're getting full minutes from Ja at only 9K, this is a pretty low price tag for him. We normally see Ja price in the upper 9K range, even in the 10K range. We're definitely getting a discount on him right now. And I think the matchup against the Clippers is really good. The Clippers' defense against guards, specifically point guards, has been really bad, especially since they acquired Russell Westbrook. So really like this spot for Ja. I think at 9K, he is a very interesting tournament play. I don't expect his ownership to be that high at all. So really like him. The rest of the Grizzlies, though, like Triple J and Bane, none of these guys look that appealing, assuming Ja comes back here, which it looks like he will. Nothing else on the Grizzlies I'm really looking to, I don't think. So that's pretty much it for Memphis. I think it's Ja for me here, and that's really it. Now, on the other side with the Clippers, we still have no Paul George, so we can expect a big role for Kawhi Leonard, a bigger role for Russell Westbrook. Kawhi's coming in at 10K. Kawhi's been pretty good in the games without Paul George this season. Some of these games lately have been blowouts, but against OKC, played 34 minutes, was really good at 57 DraftKings points. Last game against Chicago, somewhat of a blowout, played 33 minutes, had 44 DK points. This game against Memphis should be competitive. I don't love the matchup, but I think Kawhi is fine to go to at 10K. I personally, though, would rather target SGA in a much better matchup, but I think Kawhi is fine at 10K. Westbrook, we've seen him actually kind of flash some upside lately. Had 12, 10, and 5 last game, almost 40 DraftKings points. Don't love the matchup for him, but if they're going to continue to play Westbrook 34, 35 minutes tonight, we know he is a guy that can stuff the stat sheet, has triple-double upside. He's a fine GBP play. I assume his ownership is going to be really low. The rest of the Clippers, though, I don't see a ton of interest in really anyone else. Nicholas Batum's going to start for the Clippers moving forward with Marcus Morris out, and he was great in the starting lineup last game. But I just really don't want to chase this. He shot 8 for 10. He took 10 shots in that game, and they were all three-point attempts. He shot 8 for 10 from 3. Just feels like I feel like you're chasing if you play Nicholas Batum today, especially with his price up to 5,100. So even though Batum's going to start, I'm going to pass on him at 5,100. If I was going to play anyone on the Clippers here, it would be either one of Kawhi or Westbrook. Nothing else looks that great. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, guys. Utah and San Antonio. Start off on the San Antonio side. So another team, man, that just doesn't really care to win games right now. This San Antonio team has entered tank mode, but for today, no Keldon Johnson, no Devin Vassell, no Jeremy Sohan, and I think that's pretty much it. I think everyone else is good to go. So we can expect, at least for San Antonio, for the guys that are healthy, I think we can expect pretty good minutes for Zach Collins as long as this game stays competitive. We've seen Zach Collins play about 30 minutes a night in competitive games lately. Even though San Antonio doesn't want to win games, I think Zach Collins looks kind of appealing here in okay matchup against Utah. Utah's been better defensively against centers this season, or as of late. But for the full season, they've been a pretty good matchup if you look at like the DVP stats. I think Collins at 6,400 is a fine play. I think Trey Jones at 5,700 is a fine play. Not a guy that has like a massive upside, but he feels like a very safe, high floor option. He'll probably get you like 30 DraftKings points, which at his price tag, gets the job done. He's definitely viable, but I don't think I'm really looking at any other Spurs. I mean, KBD probably starts here. He's cheap, but like, man, this Spurs team, like, they're going to run a 10-man rotation, 11-man rotation. They're going to spread out the minutes for the most part. This is not a team I really want to be that invested in. I think if I was going to play anyone on the Spurs, it would be either like Trey Jones or Zach Collins, and nothing else looks that great. Now, on the other side with Utah, we'll have to keep an eye on the status of Lauri Markkanen. He's listed as questionable for this game. Utah, they're kind of another team that seems to be just like punching it in for the season. I think they're like the 11th seed in the West. They have a chance to make the play-in tournament, but it doesn't seem like they really care to get in because Lauri Markkanen's just been sitting out a lot of their games lately. Don't know about his status yet for this one. If Markkanen plays, I think it's a really good matchup against San Antonio. The price tag at 9,200 feels right. Like, that's where it should be, but really good matchup here for these Utah guys. So I think Markkanen is a fine GBP play. Really good matchup for Walker Kessler. He's a guy that I definitely have interested in tournaments. This has been a great matchup for centers going up against San Antonio. San Antonio gives up a lot of points in the paint. That's where Kessler is going to do a lot of his damage. And we're seeing Kessler's production be great lately. 52, 45 DraftKings points over their last two games. Minutes have been very strong. He's probably my favorite play on Utah today. And then THT, Kelly Olynyk, I'm not very interested in either one of those guys where they're priced at. And given that Lauri Markkanen most likely returns here and plays, if Markkanen doesn't play, then yeah, you could look to THT, you could look to Olynyk, but I think those guys would benefit most if Markkanen's out. And then the rest of the Jazz, Agbaji, Chris Dunn, none of these guys look that appealing, even in a good matchup. So that'll do it for Utah. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game. Still two more games to hit, guys. So Phoenix and Minnesota. Looking at Phoenix today, potentially could have the return of Kevin Durant here. We'll have to keep an eye on his status, but he's listed as questionable for this game. It was reported, pretty sure like last week, it was reported that this would be the game he was gonna attempt, or he was gonna attempt to return for this game against Minnesota. So if Kevin Durant is back, he'll probably be on a minutes limit, but with him most likely coming back, that's going to take away production from Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. So none of these Phoenix guys would look that appealing if KD's back, just because I think they're all a little bit overpriced for playing with KD. Now, we saw Booker have like two really good games even when he was playing with Durant earlier this season, but at 9,900, I'm not interested in Booker. Really, none of these Suns look that great today. The Suns are not a team I'm super interested in here. And then on the Minnesota side, so looking at the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns, I believe they both sat out last game, if I remember correctly. Or Anthony Edwards played, but Towns sat out. Edwards is listed as probable for today, so he's expected back. And then Towns is listed as probable as well, so he's also expected back. Looking at this Minnesota team, I don't think there's anything that looks super appealing here. Edwards is 9,100. With the team fully healthy, he feels priced where he should be. Honestly, I think my favorite play from Minnesota would probably be Karl-Anthony Towns. So in the games that Karl-Anthony Towns has played, he's played 2 games since he's come back from injury, and he's played 26 minutes and 32 minutes in those 2 games. His production's not been great, but when Towns was healthy earlier this season, I mean, he was a guy that we saw be priced like in the 9K range. We're definitely getting a discount on him right now. His production's been down a little bit, but if the minutes keep trending up, I mean, if we get like 34, 35 minutes from Karl-Anthony Towns, he could easily pay off this 8K price tag. So as a low-owned GBP dart throw, I don't mind taking a shot on Towns here at 8K. He's, I think, the one guy that I like from Minnesota. Nothing else on the Timberwolves, though, looks that appealing. Towns is the one guy that I think you could maybe target in GBPs, but that'll do it for that game. Not a ton to like, to be honest with you, assuming all these questionable guys wound up playing. And then on the looking at the last game of the night, Sacramento and Portland. This is one we're definitely going to want some exposure to. 2 teams that play pretty fast. 2 teams that have been struggling defensively this year. Portland, they're once again very shorthanded for this game. No Damian Lillard, no Jeremy Grant, no Yusuf Nurkic, no Anthony Simons, and Trenton Watford is doubtful. So we can expect most likely the starting lineup for Portland to be Shaedon Sharpe, Nasir Little, Drew Eubanks, and then Ryan Arcidiacono and Matisse Thybulle. So we'll start off with Shaedon Sharpe. 6,700 for Shaedon Sharpe. I think this is a price tag that feels right. He's not a free square. I mean, when he was like 5K, when he was like 3,500, he was basically like a free square. Now that he's priced up to nearly 7K, obviously not a priority, but I mean, you can see the role for Shaedon Sharpe has been great. The minutes have been great. He's been playing even in blowouts. His minutes are going to be very secure here. I think the matchup's really good as well. I don't mind Shaedon Sharpe as a GPP option, but definitely not a priority where he's priced at. But for value, there are some value guys I like from this Portland team. So Nasir Little at 5,100, I think is a pretty decent value play. He was very chalky last slate, kind of busted, lost a lot of minutes because of blowout. But as long as Portland can hang here, this is a really bad Portland team, but if they can keep this game competitive, I think we will see Nasir Little play probably 30 minutes, and Little should be pretty productive when he's out there just because he's playing with a lot of low usage guys. So I think Nasir Little at 5,100 does look pretty solid here. I think Drew Eubanks at 4,700 looks like a pretty good value. Eubanks should play, probably 30 minutes if this game is competitive. He's been involved in a lot of blowouts lately, but when they did have a competitive game against OKC, he played 33 minutes, was really productive, had 38 DraftKings points. As long as he can avoid foul trouble, the minutes should be there. As long as they can keep the game close as well. I think Eubanks is a pretty good value play here. Definitely stands out as one of the better values on the slate. And then the rest of Portland, these bench guys like Keon Johnson, Jabari Walker, Kevin Knox. I think you're just kind of like taking dart throws here. None of these guys really stand out, but we have seen Keon Johnson have some decent games lately. His minutes have been pretty good. He's been playing even in blowouts. I think he's an option at 5K, but I definitely feel better about Little and Eubanks and getting up to Sharpe too. But that's really it for Portland. I don't see too much else I like here. So let's talk about the other side now with Sacramento. And for Sacramento today, really good matchup for these Kings guys. Portland's defense, like I said, has been horrible. I think it's a great spot for Domantas Sabonis. It's a great spot for De'Aaron Fox. Sabonis, should feast here against Drew Eubanks. We've seen Portland, especially like against centers. I know they've been a great matchup for centers lately. Really, really good spot here for Sabonis. Minutes, as long as this game stays competitive, should be through the roof. So I definitely like Sabonis as a pay-up option. I think De'Aaron Fox at 8,200 is way too cheap for this matchup. I know Fox has had some disappointing games lately, but this feels like a big bounce-back spot for him. He's way too cheap here. I think he's a great play at 8,200. The rest of the Kings, though, like Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, Keegan Murray, where they're priced at, none of these guys look super appealing. If I'm going to play anyone on the Kings today, it's going to be Sabonis or Fox. Maybe you could play both, but I think it probably would max one of those two. I don't think I would play them together in the same lineup, but that'll do it for that game, guys, and that'll do it for this Wednesday slate. 10 games should be a lot of fun. We got some injuries to keep an eye on today, but as always, I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I hope it did help. Make sure you hit that like button down below before you guys do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And go check out PrizePicks, sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. You can use my promo code NOAH. When you sign up, you'll get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. Check them out. If you have not yet, take a look at some of the props they have available for Wednesday's games. See if there's anything that stands out to you. Again, you're just taking more or less on a player's projection. It's as simple as that. You have to make at least 2 picks. You can make up to 6 picks. You can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. Go check them out, guys. Use that promo code NOAH when you sign up and get your deposit bonus when you do sign up. But that's what I got for this Wednesday slate. Best of luck tonight, guys. As always, appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.